You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a human library audio podcast bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Welcome to the third season of this amazing story listening journey. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives, their uniqueness and individuality, making them interesting to talk to and to listen to, each one of them completely connected to the voice in me and with motivational stories of moving beyond themselves to make a difference in the world. A reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. As India celebrates her 78th Independence Day, You and I with Rashmi Shetty has a special guest, India's first visually challenged Foreign Service officer, Beno Zephine, an IFS officer under Secretary Policy and Planning and Research, Ministry of External Affairs. Beno received the first Women's Award from the Honorable President of India, Shri Ram Nath Kovind, in January 2018 for becoming India's first visually challenged Foreign Service officer. She secured a rank of 343 in the All India Civil Services examinations in 2014. She was instrumental in bringing out the Ministry of External Affairs Annual Report 2019-2020 in the audio format for the benefit of the public. She excelled at learning French as part of her compulsory foreign language requirement in service. She was instrumental in making the government of Tamil Nadu pass a government order for honoring visually challenged students who secure the first three ranks in the board examinations at the state level. She is a recipient of several awards like Woman of the Year Award by Deccan Chronicle and Best Woman by the Ritz magazine. Google had published her quote, "We are too precious to let disappointments enter our minds," as part of its doodle on International Women's Day 2019. Beno has a master's in English literature and believes disability should not inhibit anybody from reaching the stars. She is often quoted as saying, "I might not have vision, but I have a vision to be a hardworking civil servant." These words get reiterated as you listen in while Beno shares her love for life, her positive attitude, and why she believes women are precious. Hi, Beno. Such a pleasure having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. And when we talk about your journey, it's about a journey which is all inspiring. Before we go to the Beno Zephine that the world knows you today as, what was little Beno like? And what was your journey to who you've become today?
So, hi, Rashmi. Thank you very much for organizing this interview today. I'm indeed very happy, and it's a pleasure to be able to speak to you today, especially your question, which is really very interesting. What was little Beno like? So, I think the moment you asked me the question, what I could just think of is little Beno was somebody who always wanted to learn. Little Beno always wanted to participate in many competitions. Little Beno always wanted to gain more friends. And little Beno always wanted to be a person who is always noticed, who would be able to garner, people's, I won't say attention, but then I always wanted to be a person who stood out in my class, who stood out in extracurricular activities. That was the little Beno like. Thank you very much for that interesting question. And today, I think I carry with me enormous responsibilities. And I think the journey has been quite enriching. The journey has been quite challenging. The journey has been quite also something which has molded me in the process. In this whole journey from being a little Beno to what I am today, I think life has literally trained me, molded me, And I think it is not the end. So I believe that there's much more. There's a bigger path to be traversing upon, and there's a bigger journey which is down the road. There is a bigger future. I think that which is there, for which I think I need to make myself adequately prepared and equipped to handle whatever is in the way and whatever I want to accomplish in my life.
I love the energy in your voice. Right from the word go, the energy was only increasing rather than falling. There was no drop at all. Where did you pick this attitude of facing life the way you're doing it now? And was any of the difficulty in the physical challenges that you had ever made you stop and think that, okay, what next? Who was your motivator and what pushed you all through life?
I think your second question is rather easy to answer. I always like to pick up the nice and good qualities in others. I feel I am the inspiration for myself. I am the motivator for myself. And I think I am the role model also for myself. So that ways, I think I always like to learn, and I'm more than eager to learn from others. I feel every single person that we meet in our lives, I don't think many of us have many negatives. I think the attitude should be that every person has many positives in them. And I think we should be someone who is always focused on the positives in others, rather than really focusing on the negatives. So I think having both positives and negatives is part of life. So in keeping in line with this, I always admire the positives in others. Always wanted to learn. I always want to learn, and I don't think I will change as a person as I go along. To answer your question, I think I am my role model. I am the motivator for myself. The first question that you have asked me, basically, Rashmi, I feel I'm a person who does not get a lot of mood swings from the day to the night, I feel. And I don't generally get angry or generally get frustrated or generally get tired. I normally have a very good night's sleep, which I believe is the reason for the balance that I'm able to maintain so far, which I also want to do in days to come. But I think, frankly, I can't remember any incident which has really pushed me down, because I feel any incident that happens should contribute only to my personal further development rather than pushing me down. So I really can't recollect or locate any incident that has really pushed me down. And max to max, I think I can be sad only for not more than 20-25 minutes, because beyond that, I don't think any sadness or worry has any sort of permission to enter into my mind without my permission. I remember at this juncture, one of the Google Doodles published, wherein Google published my quote as part of its doodle, wherein I have mentioned that we are too precious to let disappointments enter our minds. So I think that way we are all very privileged. I don't see any worry or any reason or any merit in worrying for anything, in regretting whatever has happened. I think what is more interesting is the times ahead, the life ahead, and the path ahead.
Very well said, Beno. I'll just request you to take a step back now and go back to your growing years as to what was this idea about UPSC. You are today an IFS officer, but this journey to IFS, which many people aspire for, and hardly a small percentage in our population really reach or achieve this target, this goal. What was the reason that you were even inspired to take up UPSC? And before that, what were the subjects that drew you into filling that curiosity cup that you have forever ready to take and consume from?
Basically, from my school, my teacher used to ask all the other kids in my class, what are your favorite subjects? they used to name a subject saying, okay, this is my favorite, history is my favorite, geography is my favorite. But I feel as a student, I never had any favorite subject because I used to like all the subjects because I genuinely felt that there is something to learn and pick from learning all the subjects. So I found my entire school learning and my college learning very interesting. It is my the curiosity that I have gathered from the environment that I was living in and from the people that have had the privilege to meet. I think actually, it had really helped me to get into what I am today. And when I was a small kid, I never used to tolerate people wasting water, which for some reason I could not do at any point in time. So everybody used to tease me, okay, are you the collector? Do you feel like you're the collector? You're advising everyone. So I think instances like those might have really helped me to identify the passion within me. However, I cannot really remember or recall or recollect any particular incident which had really made me to enter here. Actually, when I was in my 10th standard, I scored 464 out of 500, which, amounted to 93 percentage, during which, I saw the TV channels and the newspaper, I mean, the media houses gathering before the houses of students who really perceivably got like state first, state second, state third, etc. So, me being a visually challenged student, I was really wondering why there was no media house or anybody standing in front of my house when I also took so much of effort. Later, I realized that I stood first up among the visually challenged category in the state level. Still, I also took a lot of efforts to make my scribe write the examination for me. And making somebody write for you is a humongous task in itself. And I went and approached the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, who later passed a government order which stated that visually challenged students who occupy the first three ranks in the 10th and 12th examination would be henceforth honored by the government of Tamil Nadu with some financial assistance. Things like this have really set a tone of wanting to do something to the society. And by the way, I also knew that I cannot be I cannot be the complete change or panacea to everything that is around, but really was wondering whether I can bring a bit of change to whatever is happening. So that's when I really wanted to get into civil services. And I don't remember any grand ideas or plans or incidents which had really taken me in this path of what I am today.
I like how you simplified it and said it in such a simple statement that this is how it was, that is what happened, and this is where I am today. What were some of the questions that you asked yourself when you decided to get on this journey? Because many people are not able to clear it in spite of multiple effects. What was the vision you had in mind for yourself? Did you even keep this as an option? Did you have another option open, or were you so focused and determined and you were clear that you're going to make it to the top in the UPSC?
UPSC, as you would know, recruits people for more than 20 services, in fact. So, see, when it comes to my UPSC preparation, my particular strategies for civil services, I did have many, many questions in my life as to what I'm going to do, what I would like to do. In a way, I was able to get what I really wanted to do. But at the same time, when I prepared for civil services, I had a certain amount of clarity wherein, like, when you're preparing for civil services, so many people would come to you and say, okay, this book is good, that book is good, this is the way you study, that is the way you study. You would listen to so many people who have cleared the examination before you, and you get inspired so much so that you would also want to follow their path. And later I realized that, see, Ben was different. She has her own strengths and weaknesses. So look, you are going to just concentrate on preparation based on your strengths and weaknesses. But that doesn't take away the necessity to learn from others, the necessity to learn from best experiences. It doesn't really take away the sanctity of, people's advice of wanting to learn some books. But at the same time, I was so clear that, okay, I would be doing this way, and I would not just study, but then keep revising again and again. After all, reinforcement is very important. Reinforcing something to yourself after you have invested so much of hard work into a particular stream of activity, I think that is really important. So that ways, I wanted to revise. I wanted to have consistency in my preparation. 3 4 hours means 3 4 hours of focused study every day without distraction, deviation, or diversion. So I think all these things, kept me in a position where I was clear about what was I was doing and what was happening to me, and how the preparation was going on, and how the exams were going to pan out for me. So there was an element of clarity within me, and I am not a person generally who is swayed away by opinion. So I really give it a thought, give it, I think for myself. So I think that really helped me in my civil services preparation.
I like what you just said, Benu. I think for myself. And when you are somebody who's so beautifully connected to the self, it really becomes easy. So, how does one build this ability to think for oneself and be so well connected to oneself?
I think I don't remember me spending so much of time to acquire this ability or skill. It's just that, you once I think there's clarity in everything, I think you start to think clearly also. When you start thinking clearly, I think that's when you really bring out yourself into that. So many things. See, I can say, okay, one needs 10 hours of study. Of course, I won't say that. But someone else can say that, okay, we need 4 hours of study. But given Beno's situation, how much time will she be able to spare for this? So I think a simple thought process and strategizing things, be big or small, not just about civil services, but I think anything relates to us in our lives. I think if we start really thinking, analyzing, okay, what am I doing? What's happening to me? Where am I headed towards? I think all these questions are genuinely important. So, like for anyone to be able to build this skill, I think not feeling inferior or superior about yourself is very important. I think it's very important that you feel good about yourself and not acquire undesired qualities of inferiority or superiority. I think that really stops someone from doing certain things. So I think you being yourself, you knowing yourself, and you understanding what you can do, and you also being able to probe into yourself and comprehending why aren't you able to do certain things. I think that self examination is very important, that we can actually start building that quality in our children, in ourselves. I think right from even children's younger age, wherein you can ask them like, why you think you like this. Always we ask, okay, what do you like? They say, I like a chocolate. But have you ever asked, okay, why you think you like a chocolate? Why you think you don't like something else? Why you think that you're connected with this particular friend, and why aren't you feeling so connected or associated with a particular friend? I think asking children these questions would really kindle a certain amount of self-awareness in them. And I think it holds the same to adults as well.
The beauty with which you answer, Beno, is the simplicity with which you dissect a topic that is given to you. So clearly, there is a lot of thought that has gone in for you to understand what you're doing and why you're doing. So your whys are clearly answered, and that's how it's become easy for you. But moving back again to your journey, when you cleared or when you were preparing for the civil services, and once the results were announced, what were some of the questions? Did you have any question at all? And will I be selected there? What could be the possible no's on the way, which I can counter? How did you prepare for that?
To be very frank with you, Rashmi, I've never had these questions.
Oh,
I'm a very solution-oriented person. So let me tackle once the questions. See, when I cleared civil services, one thing that was just prominent in my consciousness was there is a responsibility, which is quite important and significant in its own sense.
mm,
Need to approach this with huge amount of caution, and humongous efforts are required from my side, which I knew before. And I don't think ever feeling that, okay, or questioning myself, okay, what are these questions? How would I tackle? I think I'm a very simple person. I would like to tackle things as they come along. So far, I think I'm good, and my service has treated me very well. And always my seniors have been quite inspirational, and also the amount of learning that I take from them is something humongous. So I think looking at all these things, I don't think I still have any questions. I think the questions require answers, and once you have that confidence that you will be able to generate answers or discover answers, I think there is no iota of worry that is required to be having.
okay. And women in senior positions have always faced challenges of different types, and the glass ceilings are one of them. As a woman in this position that you have chosen to be part of, Benu, what are some of the challenges that you face generally as a woman in leadership roles? Because that's something which is a topic that is debated upon endlessly. So, what are some of the challenges, and how have you overcome the challenges that you have faced?
I think my service has really treated women in the way that should be treated.
Mm.
So I think, frankly, in my life, when people ask me what are the incidents, what are the challenges, I really don't see anything as a challenge. I feel unless you are short of appropriate responses, that's when you feel something as a challenge. But so far, I'm very happy to say that it's there could be difficulties, but I don't see them as big challenges, because I think any difficulty is common to a human being. So I really cannot think of any that I have encountered. I think life has been very fair to me, and service has been very fair to me as well.
I love the way you're simplifying everything. But for a woman who's standing in the crossroads of leadership and being able to balance it all and wanting it all, what would you like to tell her that she has to remember when she puts that step forward?
I think every woman is special. I feel when it comes to womanhood, they're very good at multitasking. See a mother who just gets up in the morning, packs the food for children, takes care of her husband, and then manages everything in the home. I think women are just really good at multitasking. I think there is no way and no point that a woman feels inferior. There is no need. And there is no need that someone, feels that you have lost something. I don't think so. Rather, if we really focus on the solution, what is going to happen? How can I make this situation better? I think if all of us, especially women, if we start to think that way, I think life is much more simpler. Life is much more easier. I think then the mindsets also will change, which will also have an impact on the patriarchal system, wherein men will really realize that, already I'm sure the potential of women is just well known. Is art is now, what can a woman not do? So a woman can do everything. So, for a woman who is living in a rural area, I think education is the weapon. Education is your instrument. Education is your true help. I think education is your companion. I think once you get it, really, I don't think there is any obstacle, unless your attitude or thought that you will not be able to do something. I don't see there is any other obstacle which can really push you down, because I feel you are much more precious than any obstacle that comes your way. I also equally feel that as a human being, particularly as a woman who is known for endurance and who is known for the ability to be patient, again, who is also known for her ability to be, sometimes make things happen. I think there is no need to worry at all. I think just believe in yourself. And I think that belief will give you all the energy and confidence to move on. I don't think there is any need for any single tear coming from your eyes.
Wow, this is really beautiful. And we are talking about a country that is moving forward with women in positions, like you said. There are no no's. But then countering the patriarchal society is something which is our biggest challenge as well. So when a woman sets out on a journey of leadership and finding herself, what does she need to carry with her in order to face the different difficulties that she would have on that journey?
I think she will just have to carry a feeling that she's precious. She just needs to carry that she's worth it. She needs to be confident of herself, being able to march with absolute clarity. I think she should never be a person who can just easily put down by challenges. For this, I think building capabilities in you, the capacity to be yourself, the capacity to understand where you are good at, the capacity to realize what you are good at, the capacity to perceive, to just perceive everything that is in your way. Sometimes you cannot perceive everything because life always gives you challenges. How would you handle such situations? So I think it all boils down to sheer fearlessness. You can be fearless when you feel that you are very strong. And how do you feel very strong? When you're confident to face everything. I think at the end of the day, she just needs to carry herself, because I believe that a woman is very powerful. When she carries herself, she's just not carrying herself, but she's carrying power. She's carrying energy. She's carrying perseverance. She's carrying dedication. She's carrying determination. Only thing that is required is she understands her potential, her capacity, her capability to be able to face whatever comes her way.
Beautiful words, Bino. I love when you started saying that every woman is precious. I think many a time we don't even value that precious qualities that we carry within us. And the moment we believe that, there's a huge change that happens in how we look at ourselves. Challenges aplenty, yes. And the recent big challenge that hit the world was COVID, where every one of us was thrown into a space where we didn't know how to handle it. A lot of us took a lot of reflections about life itself from COVID. What have your reflections been in this entire journey of COVID that the world took?
I think I was one of the very few, probably there could have been many as well, but I was one of those who delivered a baby during COVID times. I delivered my baby when the nation was under lockdown. I did not think why had this just come only during the time of delivery. I can't really remember even a single minute where I really regretted on anything. Okay, this is given, this is happening. Change is constant. The only thing that is constant in the world is change. We all know. So, this is the change that we are going to, we are all just now made to endure. And I think we are going to get into a new normal, and this is how life is going to be. Now, I don't see any reason or any necessity for us to go back and think, okay, how rosy the earlier times were, this, that, and all that. I felt, okay, this has happened, this is given, and how do you navigate this circumstance? And I don't still recollect, times where I had changed as a person after COVID, but I've seen a lot of deaths, lot of people suffering, which really made me to think about life. That's when I realized not just human beings are precious, but each and every minute that we have is also very, very precious. So each and every day that we have in our lives is very precious. Again, when you realize that each and every second and minute and day of your life is precious, the question or the factor that needs to be deliberated upon is, how do you make use of that precious moment? I think that's where we always constantly keep learning, constantly equip ourselves in order to make the best of our lives each and every day according to our satisfaction. Because the word best is very subjective in nature. What is best for me may not be the best for you. So I think ultimately one's realization of best according to their subjective understanding, I think, is what will define their understanding of the word best. So when taken by that yardstick, I think precious life, precious moment, precious time, and more importantly, the precious you is, are all these, or are the forces who are going to determine what lies ahead of you.
That's so beautifully put. And precious you, Benu, as far as your beautiful life is concerned, any milestones and unforgettable moments in this journey that you've had that you always recall with a smile?
In this journey, I think I owe a lot of people, my parents, first of all, and my family and my husband, who's very supportive, and my children. So I think milestone, I really think that there are milestones that I need to really, reach, rather than quoting the earlier, some, I don't say successes, but then earlier positive things that have happened in my life. So when it comes to having a smile on my face, I think I was genuinely happy when my son, Kristen Bevis and Ansel Levis, gifted me a drawing on Mother's Day saying that they drew for me. I think that was so far the most unforgettable day or moment that had really made me realize the importance of motherhood. I mean, all of us do realize the same. But when they did it, I think really, I always, whenever I think of it, I really get a smile. And the second thing, during his first year in school, my elder son, brought a small tea bag and said that my teacher asked me to gift you this. So that tea was the most heavenly drink that I ever had in my life, because of the simple reason that it came, it is, it was not just a tea, but then it was a drink that really, made me realize that what so many other women in this world are capable of. So I think that is the precise answer to your question.
Such, and like you said, I'm going to borrow your word, precious moments that I'm sure you'll keep sacred to you for the rest of your life. Truly precious. So, Benu, you are a special guest, and as precious as you are, this is good. This conversation is going to be uploaded as an Independence Day special. So, happy Independence Day to you. Is there something that you have to share as well?
I think as a proud Indian, I would like to wish you all a happy Independence Day. I feel, as our Honorable Prime Minister says, we are in the precious and illustrious journey of becoming, our country becoming a developed nation. shortly. So during this period of Amrit Kal, I feel each and every individual, big or small, a child, a worker, an engineer, a civil servant, and particularly people who are serving at the borders, a doctor. I think each and every one of us has contributed, is contributing to the process of nation building. So when our country is traversing through this illustrious and interesting times, I think the fact that we are part of this very, very important time in India's history, the fact that we are part of it itself, I think it speaks volumes. So I think this Independence Day becomes more special in that context. And I wish each and every one of us a very happy Independence Day.
Thank you. And we've come to that part where I'd love you to tell us 3 life lessons that you hold so closely, because you are somebody who, even in a brief conversation, exudes so much of positivity, so much of confidence, and so much of ability to be stable. Definitely, I'm sure life has given you a lot of lessons that you have derived your attitude from. 3 of the precious life lessons that you think are important.
I don't think I have still reached that place of Swami Vivekananda or big people who can give lessons, but 3 things that I can certainly recall or can tell you at this moment are: A, first of all, be balanced. That's very important for you to be able to do anything in life. Never get so down. Being happy is important. I think being very balanced, being able to see through that life is just not this moment. There are many more moments left for you to still make a difference to yourself. I think that is very important. Second, I feel be patient wherever it is required. Postponing things for tomorrow is not going to help us in any way. So, exercising patience is important. Again, it is important when it is required. Again, in other circumstances, I think one needs to be on the job, being able to deliver. So, exercising patience wherever required, and at the same time, exercising, exhibiting quickness in making decisions. I think these two are different sides of the same coin, which are required to be able to accomplish what you want to do. And I think number 3 is it's okay. I mean, let's take obstacles and challenges very easily. I mean, let's not look at them very seriously. Because the moment you start looking at them very seriously, then it's going to be very hard for you to be able to tackle them. So just it's okay. I mean, let's take life as it comes along, and let's try to always be a solution finder. And after all, again, going back to the word precious, you're very precious. I don't think any disappointment or sorrow or sadness has any meager amount of permission to enter into you without you opening the doors for it. So I think we are responsible for our own lives. And I think these are 3 things. And if you permit me, I would just go on to number 4, which is always be positive. The moment you lose your positivity, then we will begin to look at everything in a very critical sense. I mean, looking things at a critical sense whenever required is another altogether a different story, but being positive about your life, about yourself, about people around you, I think it will always hold you in good stead. So I think these are the 4 lessons that I always close dear to my heart. Once you start implementing these things, I think they will also become eventually a part of your not just consciousness but also your subconsciousness, wherein you will be a person who takes life as it comes along, a easygoing person without having to complicate lives easily, because after all, we have a short span of life during which I think we should make our lives better, others' lives better as well.
Wow, Benu, after listening to you, I'm so tempted to ask you this question. Normally, this is the last question, life lessons, but with you, I'm tempted to ask you if there is a tagline to Benu, what is that tagline that drives you to be Benu all the time?
Be balanced, bold, dignified, and confident.
Beautiful summing up of who you are. An honor to have had you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty, Benu. Stay blessed, continue inspiring. I'm sure everyone who's met you has gone back that much more inspired to find out what makes them precious. Continue to be that beacon with your vision so clear on what you want from life and what you're going to give life. That balance that you have maintained so far has helped you reach where you have. And may God continue to give all the blessings that you require to achieve your dreams further. Thank you so very much for this conversation.
Thank you very much, Rashmi, and thank you to each and everyone who's going to listen to me. And I hope I have said something which is useful to you. Thank you very much for this conversation today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless you. With that, we complete this episode of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know inspirational people whose story needs to be heard. You can write in at rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com.